you're not of the born again Christian you may not understand this part of the story. Yes. So my brothers and sisters, I refuse to be operated upon. I refuse to be operated upon. Anyway, I didn't accept the report. So the doctor asked me to sign that I was living against medical accord. She warned that even if I returned with dilation of 10 fingers, I would still be operated upon. I don't know if she was only doing her job or it was a female thing. You know, we women, we have a way of looking down on another woman's pain, especially if it's something that we have gone through. Uh, when you go to a delivery room, sometimes you hear something like, ah, why you shout so? Now you be first man for born. As in to say, why you shouting like that? Are you the first one to have a baby? Or you hear a nurse say, push that picking, you want kill that picking. As in, push that child quickly. Do you want to kill the child? Do you want to suffocate the child? Worst case scenario, do not be a young unmarried girl. Then they will ask you something like, tell you with the work of opening your foot, you never know say for born picking this be hot. As in when you're opening your legs, do you know that labor is painful? So you get things like that when you're experiencing delivery with female nurses in some of our hospitals. Share your story with us in the comment section. How was your experience with having your baby? Did the nurses, the female nurses, I mean, female nurses treat you well, or you had some good female nurses like that? I mean, that were kind, or maybe you were male nurses that were kind to you. So we decided to go to a doctor friend who has a private clinic to get her advice. When she went through my medical report, she said that the indications for an operation were valid. However, she thinks since I've had a baby of 5 kilograms before, we could bet on medical expertise, medical experience to give normal delivery a chance. Since the ecography showed that the umbilical cord around the baby's neck weren't too tight. She, however, was reluctant to handle my case for two reasons. Her clinic had no surgical services. It has no surgical services even up to now. So, in case of emergency, we might have difficulties. Also, she was sick and would not be able to venture into my case because when she has surgical emergencies in the course of her work, she hires a car to carry the patient and goes alongside with the patient to a more fit hospital to carry out such medical actions. And there's this hospital she is in partnership with, to which she carries her patient often. This hospital has better equipment. And lastly, because she was my friend. You know, in the medical field, you aren't allowed to carry out such severe interventions on people you have close bonds with, say, spouse, child, parents, etc., except otherwise for fear of panic, anxiety, and the desire to overly do it correctly. So she referred us to another hospital and called one of the doctors there, explaining clearly my case and precising clearly that we wanted to first give experience a chance before proceeding to intervention in case of emergency. You will not imagine that we're doing all these movements on bikes, or what do you call scooters. I wasn't having any little pains yet, but I was all wet. It was almost 4 p.m. already, and the doctor had mentioned that the reproductive nurse, commonly called a midwife, lives in another town and often closes by 4 p.m. Up on the bike we go. On getting there, it was few minutes past 4 p.m. She had left. We probably bypassed. She was the most experienced and was a specialized nurse for the job. Of course, other nurses can do the job, however, every bit of experience counts when it comes to delicate cases. The administration of the hospital agreed to give the natural birth a try. When I was checked, I was already 5 fingers gone. No pains yet. My doctor friend was with me, including my colleague turned sister and my husband. At some point, Dr. Gabriel, my friend, recommended I be administered oxytocin so that contractions could advance. The nurse refused. After so much insistence, the nurse agreed and placed me on the drip. This time, the dosage of the medicine wasn't enough. Dr. Gael even advised on what was to be done to accelerate the process. All her attempts met resistance to the point where the nurse even threatened to ask her out of the ward. The nurse then went to sleep. While she was sleeping, we increased the drip flow and I started feeling some contractions, though mild. We woke the nurse up in excitement. When she checked our 7 fingers gone, we all were excited. There was progress. The nurse then asked me to lie down on the bed. I don't know if this is a new method. What I know is you have to be active in order for the dilation process to advance. Nurses in the house, please, or doctors in the house, please tell us in the comment section if this is normal. What I am aware of is that you maybe have to be moving up and down or maybe climbing the stairs in order to facilitate the dilation process. But then there was I lying down. I fell asleep. Oh, hey, woman in labor sleeping. Have you ever slept during labor? Does that even sound normal? There was I sleeping. At some point, my friend got worried. She woke me up and asked that I stand and start moving. I started moving from one point of the room to another. After some time, the nurse said I should get on the delivery bed for another check. To our greatest surprise, the nurse said there wasn't any advancement in dilation. My friend was there, so my friend asked if she could check. The nurse agreed. She checked and said I was at 9 fingers. Another cold argument started. No one was saying anything, but you could feel the tension in the atmosphere. The nurse then took her phone, and all I could overhear her was how she was recounting that she had mentioned that the dilation wasn't advancing, and my friend said it was. After they called the nurse in charge of the theater came in, he did his own check and said I was at 5 fingers. Ah, 7 fingers, 9 fingers, and now 5 fingers. So the thing was only reducing. How is that even possible? My friend looked at me in sorrow and said she's sorry for bringing me here. She didn't think things would turn out like this. So after some time, the nurse decided to check the baby's heartbeat using Doppler. And unfortunately, the heartbeat was no longer normal. I had to be rushed to the theater. I made a silent prayer in my heart, telling God that if this baby was going to die, or he was going to come out with maybe severe malformation, may God grant that he comes out through the vaginal route now before I'm being cut open. I made that prayer in my heart and said that if I'm being cut open, it should only be that the baby is coming out safe, sound, and healthy. In the theater, my colleague was there, so he's the anesthetist. He put me in confidence. Amazingly, when the doctors and nurses were ready for the job, they all prayed before they started. I didn't know that that's what happens in Catholic hospitals, that they pray before they begin an operation. Do you pray before you begin an operation in your hospital if you're a nurse or a doctor? Or if you've gone to the theater, did you see the doctors pray? I was asked not to sleep during the process, but I was exhausted. I remember leaving the house since 8 a.m. the previous day, but here we were about the early hours of the next day. Each time I dozed off, my colleague would call my name. Miranda, I was cut open and the baby was delivered. He pushed out a loud cry and excitement filled my face. This was 4 a.m. in the morning on the 10th of September 2024. After the process, I was carried by the nurses to the recovery room. I was laid on my back and I couldn't move my legs. I was asked to stay in that position for 24 hours. The baby was placed by me and I had to breastfeed him. You can't move, but you have to put your breast into the mouth of a mini human. Beautiful, traumatizing, exciting experience, all at the same time. I was properly followed up for 7 days by the doctor and nurses, except for one nurse who almost ruined everything even before it started. Have you had a terrible experience with a medical personnel before? Tell us in the comment section. Oh, about the bed. It was the day I had the baby that the carpenter delivered the bed. He delivered the bed at my house and my husband was there to receive it. Thank God for family and friends who were all there to help me. I will be telling you in subsequent videos what happened, who helped me, and who did what, and how special Your help was to me. Thank you for sitting with me right to the end of this. Did you learn something? Did you find it interesting? Please leave us a comment and we will see you in another video. Bye bye.